What is up, Duelist Arts and Crafts here, back at it again with your daily dose of Yu-Gi-Oh! GOAT format action. Today's feature match, we've got Edison Smurf versus Pulse Slim. A couple returning faces on this channel, I believe. As always, both players rated in the top 200 on the Dueling Book ladder at the time this match was played. Let's get right into it. Looks like Edison Smurf is going to start us off here, winning the rock, paper, scissors, shoot, and choosing to go first. Gonna lead out with a Thunder Dragon, so likely a classic chaos strategy coming out here for Edison Smurf. I'm gonna go grab a couple copies of that T-Drag, bulk up the hand a little bit. I'm gonna go out with a T-set pass, so a little bit of information given away to Pulsum thanks to that Thunder Dragon, but not too much. We'll see how Pulsum chooses to respond. They're gonna go ahead and set 3 back row pass, no monster here. We'll see if they allow Edison Smurf to get to main phase 1 with the set monster intact. We're gonna see a Trap Dust Shoot hit the board first. We'll see what Edison Smurf is rocking. Looks like probably some typical chaos action here. Those double Thunder Dragons we knew about. A lot of good stuff, including Nobleman of Crossout, Magician of Faith, without any amazing targets. MST, and then Raigeki Break. Okay, so if you are Pulsum, you probably just take out the Magician of Faith. No point in ripping out the Thunder Dragon after it's already gotten an activation off, most likely. So yeah, expecting to just see that Faith get taken there. And that's what we'll see. And then Pulsum will know about Raigeki Break, MST, and Knock in hand. We're going to get Flip Summon Gravekeeper Spy for Edison Smurf, though, so their flip allowed to resolve. Gonna go ahead and summon into defense position, be a little bit more conservative. Open board, so could get aggro pretty quickly here if they wanted to go attack position Spy, but choosing to be a little bit more conservative. Still don't know what your opponent's playing here. It's not going to matter what position it is, though, because Torrential Tribute will come out from Pulse Slim. Just a nice one-card way to neatly deal with these spies, and they will hit the grave. Edison Smurf now on Chaos, but we know they are not holding any in hand at the moment, so Pulse Slim doesn't have to worry about that just yet. And just going to pass there. No normal summon in hand, as we know, so a little bit of tempo advantage here for Pulse Slim if they have a threat to stick on the board. I know about Nobleman of Crossout, so might be wary to set anything without having baited that out first. Just going to draw pass. Hasn't given away too much information. Dust Shoot and Tribute are both just like pure staples in the format, so not really signifying too much. Edison Smurf, just going to draw pass. Now has an unknown in hand. Going to get a lot of draw pass action here. Edison Smurf at 7 cards in hand, so going to have to commit something to the board unless they want to discard for hand size. Just going to set a back row pass. Both players kind of in a stalemate here, not wanting to be the first one to blink. Draw pass. Draw pass with 7 cards in hand, but one is a Sinister Serpent, so Edison Smurf will just discard that for turn and not actually lose any cards. Not too bad. Pulse Slim now has 7 cards in hand. Gonna go fire off a Pot of Greed, so we'll go up to 8 cards in hand, so gonna have to definitely make some sort of play this turn. Edison Smurf is fine letting that resolve. Your opponent getting an extra card here when both players have a million cards in hand is totally fine. They draw into Thunder Dragon as well, so we got ourselves a nice little Chaos Mirror match here, most likely. Double T-Dragon hand for both players, and Pulsum just gonna set a few cards, discard Thunder Dragon for hand size, pass turn. Nothing crazy. All right, who's going to blink first here? Edison Smurf recurs that Sinister Serpent. It's going to set a back row, set a monster pass. Definitely could be that Serpent that we know about in hand, or they could have drawn something real. Pulsum has a Nobleman of Crossout to deal with it. It is a Magician of Faith with nothing in grave for Edison Smurf to use. So I guess you're probably fine with this getting knocked, because Pulsum actually has something good to grab, so you would rather them not have access to that Magician of Faith if you could. Edison running at least 2, Pulse Slim potentially on 1 or more. That'll get banished out of both players' hands. Edison Smurf just going to set a monster pass once more. We're going to get End-Phase Scapegoat out of Pulse Slim, so rocking Chaos Control here today, which explains a lot of the draw pass stuff we saw from them. Most likely as like a Metamorphosis in hand or something to combo with the Scapegoat to suck in the set monster. Considering they've already used their Nobleman of Crossout, they might be out of set monster interaction outside of the Thousand Eyes Restrict play, so choosing to go for it here in Edison Smurf's end phase. Now we'll pass turn. We'll get that Metamorphosis, which was set onto the board. Summon out 1,000 Eyes in defense position, and that'll suck in the set monster. But we've got Ring of Destruction to protect it, popping the 1,000 Eyes before the suck effect can go off. And Pulsum, you're going to have plan B here to deal with this monster. Interesting. So we're going to go turn the token to attack position and then go creature swap to steal the opponent's monster. It is a Gravekeeper Spy. Okay, so this was just the last remaining Spy in deck. The other two in grave already, so Edison Smurf running the full playset of Spies. And honestly, you're probably fine with this creature swap trade. Unless, if Pulslim has Spies in deck, this is really good, though. If there are no Spies, then it's kind of whatever. We're going to get normal summon Breaker here, so the attack position token actually going to potentially matter here, because the Breaker can beat over it for damage, assuming it gets in. Breaker gonna... Oh, okay, so we're just going to summon Breaker. It'll get hit by Raigeki Break, discard that known Sinister Serpent, so not going to be able to utilize its effect to clear it at back row. Edison Smurf nipping that play in the bud, protecting their life points as well. Not too bad. Clean way to deal with Breaker. And then Pulslim is actually just going to go and crash tokens, which works in GOAT format. I think in future formats, 2/0 attack monsters will just kind of bounce off of each other and stalemate. But in GOAT format, they actually crash and kill each other, which is definitely relevant when you're running Scapegoat plus Creature Swap, because oftentimes your opponent will end up with one of those tokens. So Pulsum clearing out Edison Smurf's board completely, stealing that Gravekeeper Spy would be really huge if they had Spies of their own to potentially grab off of this Spy activation, but either way, it's not terrible. Chaos achieved here for Pulslim. That this turn, getting the 1,000 Eyes or the Breaker into grave to complement those Thunder Dragons. But still, no player really coming out ahead just yet. Just a lot of jockeying for position, trying to resolve flip monsters, but no one's really had any big impact plays just yet. Edison Smurf has that no Nobleman of Crossout to go ahead and banish the Spy. We'll see if Pulslim is running at least 2 copies, could have a third in hand, which would kind of suck. But yeah, smartly knocking there. That was known, of course, but you don't know if Pulslim is... You probably don't want to chance if Pulslim is actually running Spies in their deck to get value out of your own Spy, so might as well just knock it. Then Edison Smurf is going to go set a monster, set a back row pass. Pulslim just has this one GOAT token to their name so far, but 7 cards in hand could definitely do some damage. We're going to get a Metamorphosis number 2 for the game to go and turn this last remaining token into another 1,000 Eyes. That will suck in the set monster. No chain here from Edison Smurf, so that's just going to steal a Magician of Faith. Knock being the only target, not crazy. This is... Looks like Edison Smurf is running the Triple Faith, and has drawn 3 so far this game. First one sent back by Dust Shoot. Second one... getting knocked, and then this third one getting sucked in by 1,000 Eyes. So no faith resolutions for Edison Smurf here. This game, unless they're able to maybe recur this one potentially with the Night Assailant later, but that seems a little bit far off. And then Pulsum is going to set a monster pass. Okay. Edison Smurf, you're staring down ye old Floodgate. You do win the deck out if that's something you're thinking about this early in the game. Oh, sorry, I moused over that set monster. Edison Smurf, though, the play is going to be set a monster pass. Pulslim, we're going to go Tribute for Thunder Dragon to allow this set monster to get flip summoned. 1,000 Eyes, of course, not allowing any other monster on the battlefield to change their battle position, which includes flip summoning. So Tribute Summon here, clearing the way for this flip to resolve. We saw it was the Magician of Faith earlier. That will happen, but we got Solemn Judgment out of Edison Smurf to prevent the Faith Summon, prevent the Knock or Pot of Greed are being the most likely snags here. I guess Metamorphosis to turn the 1,000 Eyes into like a Dark Bolter is also kind of fine. But we're not going to see what Pulslim's plan was, because Solemn is going to come through and just negate the Magician of Faith summon. And you're actually... That's a pretty good play, because Pulslim did have to invest some resources tributing over their 1,000 Dragon to make this... Or tributing over their 1,000 Eyes Restrict to make this play happen. So stuffing it kind of makes that play go a little bit to waste. Pulslim does have a threat on board here, though, with the Thunder Dragon, which can be formidable here in these Chaos matchups. It's going to go ahead and attack the set monster. It's just going to be that Sinister Serpent walling out some damage, potentially trying to bait some 1,000 Eyes stuff. Totally fine. A lot of the good flips in Edison Smurf's deck have already been dealt with. Spy's gone, Faith gone, so it's really like potentially Dekoichi or Knight Assailant to worry about. Just going to pass here with the Lone Thunder Dragon on board. No back row to protect it, but you're probably fine here as Pulse Slim. You got to deal 4,000 damage to your opponent's life points this turn, thanks to that Solemn Judgment. So this 1600 attack is definitely a real threat. Sinister Serpent can wall it out indefinitely unless Pulse Slim adds something else to the board, but something to worry about for sure. Edison grabbing that Serpent, of course. Gonna go slam down a Chaos Sorcerer. And that will go ahead and banish this Thunder Dragon, summoning it in defense position. Yeah, T-Drag banished, set a monster here as well, and Edison Smurf, the first of the two players to resolve a Chaos monster so far this match. Getting a little bit of value there. Still just going tit for tat here, card advantage-wise, for the most part. And Pulse Slim, do you have an answer to this Chaos Sorcerer? Because that is one big boy, right? Looks like we've got Chaos Sorcerer of our own, Edison Smurf. Do you have Solemn number 2? We're just going to go banish the opponent's Chaos Sorcerer, so making up for the lost card advantage from that Thunder Dragon. Then we're going to set a monster, set a back row pass. This set could potentially resolve for Edison Smurf, but like I was saying, there isn't really anything super high value. Knight Assailant would actually be really good just to pop the Chaos Sorcerer, but unlikely that it's that. We'll get Enphase MST, pop that back row. Is a Mirror Force, so setting that to potentially protect their stuff, but MST will make sure it will not be used this game for Pulse Slim. Edison Smurf, clearing the way here for potential play. They do still have Chaos Live, Dark and Light Engrave. We're going to go Upstart Goblin to dig a little bit further into the deck. Just first, though, potentially trying to dig for that Chaos. Ooh, and then they have Snatch Steal, which is quite safe because Pulse Slim has no back row. So that will be able to steal the Chaos Sorcerer. Now you have to make the choice between the conservative play of just Sork Effect banish itself, or start getting aggro and beating in with the 2300 body. Looks like they're going to go for the aggro move. They have Nobleman of Crossout to deal with the set monster. Pulse Slim. Looks like they have some lag. Okay, so Knock is going to hit Dekoichi, the Battle Chanted Locomotive. So another flip monster getting hit by Knock here for both players. Looks like both are running multiple copies. And we'll get Tribute Summon for Thunder Dragon here. So trying to get as much damage as possible coming through. This is 3,900 a turn, minus the 1,000 life point gain off of the Snatch Steal, but is a formidable clock. And that will drop Pulse Slim down to 5,100 for now. Rise up to 6,100 thanks to the Snatch Steal. And pretty big board here, but Pulse Slim does have a good number of cards in hand, so could potentially deal with this. Chaos is live thanks to the Darks Engrave. Let's see. We'll see Delinquent Duo to rip out Thunder Dragon and one unknown, which is a Breaker the Magical Warrior. Okay. Smartly using it now that the Sinister is engraved because you know you'll get at least full value. Still getting the 2-for-1 trade there off of the duo and potentially paving the way for something else. Tribe Infecting Virus is quite good to deal with your opponent's board. Choose what you want to discard. Going to discard a Nobleman of Crossout to deal with the Thunder Dragon. Okay. Do we have a Snatch Steal here to deal with the Sork, potentially? Oh, we're going to creature swap and then have Sork beat over the Tribe. That's pretty cute. And cutely, Edison Smurf still has a Snatch Steal on their side of the board, so Pulse Slim will also gain the life. So adding insult to injury there, stealing the monster, and still going to be able to gain the life as well. So really strong play here, getting good value out of this out of this Tribe plus the creature swap. And now both players are basically in a top deck situation, but Pulse Slim is the one with a Chaos Sorcerer on board, which is quite a solid advantage here. Edison Smurf, you do at least have the Sinister Serpent to recur and block the Sork for damage. We'll see if that's your only play. Upstart to dig a little bit further into the deck. Into set a monster pass. Could be Serpent, could be not Serpent, but we know it's not we know it's not a Spy, or a Dekoichi, or a Magician of Faith. So Pulse Slim has to be thinking it's maybe, if it's not the Serpent, it could be Sangan, it could be Knight Assailant. We haven't seen any yet, but definitely likely that that's in the deck. And that's probably it. Could be a Tsukuyomi too, maybe, which would be interesting. Pulse Slim gonna gain the 1,000 life here still. She's gonna go straight to battle phase, attack the set monster, and it's just that Sinister Serpent walling out the damage. Pulse Slim totally content to continue to just gain a bunch of life thanks to the Snatch Steal turn after turn. Edison Smurf is kind of on the back foot here. Has to find an answer to the Sork, or else they'll just basically get put out of damage range on Pulse Slim. Graceful Charity is a really, really good draw here for Edison Smurf. Considering they have the Sinister Serpent in hand, going to be able to get a plus here. Discard Serp plus a pretty dead Tsukuyomi. And then you might have some really good stuff left in hand here thanks to that Sinister. Going to go set a monster, set a back row pass. So still no out. Just set to Chaos Sorcerer, unless that set card is like a Raigeki Break, which it definitely could be. Pulse Slim should gain that 1,000 life points, but looks like they forgot. Gonna attack over Sangan, really one of the few options left in the deck for Edison's Smurf to set here. And they do have Night Assailant, which is enough to deal with the Sork on future turns. Also remembering to gain the 1,000. Gonna set a back row pass here. You know this Night Assailant is probably coming down to Maneater Bug Effect your Sork. Oh, but we just drew into Chaos Sorcerer of their own for Edison Smurf. That will come down and banish the opponent's Sorcerer. And now just trading Chaos back and forth. Snatch Steal is gone too, which is nice if you're Edison Smurf because Pulse Slim will cease to gain life. They are at a whopping 8,100 though, so it might be a while until you're able to kill them. But you do have board supremacy at least, having resolved this Chaos Sorcerer. Pulse Slim got Graceful Charity of their own. Let's see what they have to discard. Just going to try and dig for an out for this Sork. Going to discard Sinister Serpent and Raigeki Break. Pretty good combo there, but potentially just having better stuff in hand. Serpent, of course, recurring next turn. MST to clear the back row, and do we just have BLS or something for game? We're going to get Raigeki Break, pitch that Night Assailant, which can grab back a Magician of Faith, and then pop the back row, which is Ring of Destruction on the Chaos Sorcerer, and this is probably just GG here. Both players take 2,300. Edison Smurf's back row is completely cleared out, and now just any monster basically is game here for Pulse Slim. Yeah. And could have been any Chaos monster, banishing 2 from the grave, but Edison Smurf seeing enough, and that's game 1 there to Pulse Slim in a nice long one. Chaos Control taking it down over Chaos Turbo. It's able to grind out. Basically simplified the game down to a top deck scenario where Pulse Slim had a Chaos Sorcerer and Edison Smurf didn't, and then just kind of closed the game out from there. So pretty solid gameplay there from both players, but Pulse Slim taking it down at the end. Edison Smurf on the more aggressive Chaos strategy will choose to go first here in game 2. We'll see if they can use some of that tempo advantage to start out stronger. Gonna lead out with Thunder Dragon here. Once again, second game in a row. Into Upstart Goblin, correct sequencing there, so you don't draw into a Thunder Dragon with your Upstart. We're gonna get a T-set pass, so very similar opening as the first game. I think we saw Thunder Dragon T-set pass as well. Pulse Slim, what's the play? Just gonna go set a monster, set a couple back row pass. Edison Smurf has Raigeki Break in the end phase, discarding one of those 2 Thunder Dragons. Thunder Dragon, of course, being quite good discard fodder for your discard traps and things like that. And we'll see, do you want to pop the monster or one of the back row? Gonna hit a back row, so 50-50 shot there. Hits a Torrential Tribute. Okay, so good thing to know you don't have to play around for the rest of the game, for sure. The other set card could very well be like a Trap Dust Shoot, which is probably what Edison Smurf was looking to hit here. But it is not that, and we're just clearing the way for Gravekeeper Spy, potentially. Gonna go activate that. You know, you don't have Torrential Tribute to worry about anymore. Gonna summon second Spy in defense position, and then Spy will beat in to the set monster, which was a Dekoichi, which will just cycle for a card, get a Dark Engrave. Totally fine with that if you're Pulse Slim. Ooh, and then Edison Smurf has the main phase 2 Tsukuyomi. So good that Torrential is gone, otherwise you probably don't go for this play. And Suk can flip this Spy back into face-down defense position. We know Edison Smurf is running triple Spy, so it can get its activation again next turn for a massive, massive amount of advantage and board presence. Pulse Slim here does not have Ring or anything to interrupt that. Do you have a way to out these Spies? Let's see. Just going to set a monster pass. So a little bit on the back foot here. Edison Smurf going to be able to resolve their Spy again. Summon out another one. This time in attack position, so going a little bit more aggressive here. Still has 1 in defense position to kind of, you know, play sweeper. And we're going to upstart number 2 of the game. Dig a little bit further into Graceful Charity. Okay, cool. Has at least one Thunder Dragon in hand, so good to cash that in for a real card at minimum. We're going to see Thunder Dragon plus Sangan discarded. So Sangan getting a Darkened Grave is quite nice, especially if you got BLS to go banish your opponent's set monster, which we might be able to see. Yeah, and we're going to see BLS come down super duper early. Going to immediately get a plus in value here. And Edison Smurf just smartly playing around. You have the Tsukuyomi loop with Spy. You can go for maximum damage here if you want. Summoning the BLS and keeping a Spy in defense position to play around potential Mirror Force is probably smart. Although I'm not sure if Pulsum would have set both of them together on turn 1. That's a little bit risky. Yeah, BLS going to go banish the set monster. It is a second Dokoichi. And this will pave the way for 2,400 points of damage to come in. Plus the Tsukuyomi flipping that BLS face down. Sure, just to protect it from Snatch Steal. And get 1,100 extra points of damage in. Let's see. Pulsum does have Scapegoat here to wall out. Edison Smurf can kill 3 of the tokens, but that will leave Pulsum with a single one. Okay. So Pulsum recognizing that Edison Smurf is going full aggro here, trying to stall out here with the Scapegoat to try and find a point to stabilize. If you have Metamorphosis in hand, you can use it to go into Thousand Eyes, steal the BLS, which would be quite good. Although it will just die to the Tsukuyomi if you have nothing else to protect it. So something to think about. And if that is the play out of Pulsum, Edison Smurf probably happy that the Tsukuyomi flipped their BLS face down, because otherwise the Thousand Eyes would be at 3,000 attack, and they would take a good amount of damage if Pulsum went for that play and was able to attack with the Thousand Eyes. But yeah, the Scapegoat will resolve, fill up the board with these 0/0 goat tokens. Edison Smurf will just clear out as many as possible, leaving Pulsum with a single. Just going to add a back row pass here. Has to be wary about a potential Metamorphosis. We'll go set a monster, go for Metamorphosis. It's a set Magician of Faith. So trying to get a Light Engrave here, not using the standard play of Metamorphosis on a goat token to kind of save you a card, basically. But I guess wanting to get the Light Engrave is more important here for Pulsum, which makes sense. So unless they drew the Faith this turn, kind of interesting that it was just a Scapegoat purely to block the damage of this attack and not take 3,500, which, you know, when you're a control deck, sometimes you just need to be able to prevent damage from coming through, so totally fine play. The Pulsum definitely on the back foot here. Thousand Eyes will come out here thanks to the Metamorphosis. Gonna go and suck that BLS in, but once again, for the second game in a row, Edison Smurf has the Ring of Destruction to interrupt this, so the BLS will live to see another turn. And Pulsum on very much on the back foot here, but does have BLS of their own thanks to that Faith hitting the grave. Makes sense. Going for that play with the Faith Metamorphosis combo. Getting that Light Engrave, summoning out BLS. And now, I mean, you could just attack over the BLS and attack over a Spy for fun. That would put your opponent back on Chaos, though, which maybe you don't want to do. But it could be a way to get in some damage. No, so yeah, we're just going to go to battle phase, beat over the BLS, and then beat over one of the stack position Spies to get a little bit of damage in. Get a little bit of extra card advantage in. It does keep Edison Smurf on Chaos, though, which is something you might have to worry about. The safer play out of Pulsum would have been to summon BLS in defense position, prevent any crashes from Spy to get Dark's Engrave, and then just banish the BLS. But going a little bit more aggressive here, getting a little bit more advantage. I think that makes sense in this scenario because Pulsum is a little bit behind, so you do kind of have to be a little bit greedy to maybe get back into the game. And you hope your BLS can survive another turn and continue to get you some advantage. No back row to protect it, though, so Edison Smurf could have a lot of things in hand to deal with this. Pot of Greed to dig for a potential answer into Tribe Infecting Virus is a nice, clean way to deal with it. Discard that Tsukuyomi that we knew about. Now that Thousand Eyes is gone, you don't really need it as much. And that will pop the BLS thanks to Tribe Effect. And once again, going full aggro mode. So wave 1 was dealt with by Pulsum thanks to the Scapegoat into BLS play. But now wave 2 is coming through from Edison Smurf, and they're going to hit in, finally connect in for some damage, get in for 2,800 here this turn. Pulsum will get dropped down to 8,400, but with quite a formidable board here, and Pulsum just really does not have a lot of cards to deal with. So Edison Smurf's aggro kind of game plan here really keeping Pulse Slim pinned down and forcing a lot of card advantage out of them so far. It'll drop Pulse Slim down to 72. I misspoke. Pulse Slim, though, you got 3 cards here. Gonna go Snatch Steal on the Tribe Infecting Virus, though, which is quite strong to clear out these spies. Discard a Trap Dust Shoot, which is live, so an interesting choice, but prioritizing just protecting their life points here once again. Similar sort of game plan as before, just using Scapegoat to protect their life earlier. Here, trading in a Trap Dust Shoot to clear out Edison Smurf's board, and just kind of desperately trying to stabilize as much as possible. That will clear out the spies. Tribe will get in for 16. And so Wave 2, once again, dealt with here for Pulse Slim. Edison Smurf, do you still have more gas to mount an offensive? Or will Pulse Slim just be able to stabilize and start to turn the corner? Gonna add a set monster to the board here. Edison Smurf, what's your play? Gain 1,000 from Snatch Steal. So we got Chaos Monster number 2 in the form of Chaos Sorcerer, BLS's little brother. That's just gonna go beat over the Tribe Infecting Virus, do a little bit of damage, get it in grave. You know, water not really an important attribute, but yeah, it goes into your own grave anyway, so you might as well just get the damage, and no like Mirror Force or anything to play around because there's no back row out of Pulse Slim. Then we've got Knock here on the set monster, which is another Magician of Faith. So, recurring Snatch Steal I guess would have been nice if you were Pulse Slim to steal the Sorcerer, but now completely out of resources. Edison Smurf is up a bunch of cards, 3 to be exact. Both players going to have their faiths banished, of course. Edison Smurf banishing all 3, so does not have one in hand. Probably wish they saw one by now, because there's lots of goodies in grave to recur. But still in a very, very commanding position here, with the Sorcerer and an extra set monster on board. Also, I'm just purely top decking here. Straw pass. Edison Smurf gets in for 23. Yep. And this is a real clock. And yeah, Edison Smurf just being able to be super aggressive, paying off here. We're going to summon Chaos Sorcerer number 2 for game. And there you go. We're going to head to game 3 here, folks. Game 1, Pulse Slim able to stabilize against this more aggressive Chaos Turbo strategy. And, you know, kind of waiting things out and eventually securing the win in the late game. Here in game 2, though, Edison Smurf correctly identifying that they are the beatdown player in the matchup. Put the pedal to the metal really early, summoned out all 3 spies with the help of a Tsukuyomi, slam down some Chaos monsters, and just wave after wave of pressure that Pulse Slim could not deal with totally. And then, yeah, that's just game. So we'll hit game 3 here. Pulse Slim on this Chaos Control strategy will be able to go first. Kind of help them with a little bit of that tempo problem that they had in game 1. Gonna lead out with a Thunder Dragon of their own. Not a bad card to start with. Into normal summon Sangan, set a couple back row pass. So normal Sangan kind of signifies that they might not have any other flip monsters in hand. They might want to bait a potential knock or something with set Sangan. Interestingly, we haven't seen Mind Control out of either player so far this game, so both players either not running it or just not citing it in this scenario. Doesn't always come in against Chaos Control, so that wouldn't be too terrible of a decision from Edison Smurf, assuming they even played in the side deck at all. So it's potentially just the double Noblemans for both players to worry about here. So Pulse Slim may be saying, okay, I don't even need to bait out stuff. I'm just going to go normal summon Sangan, try to start applying some pressure. It's something annoying for Edison Smurf to deal with. Put them on the back foot a little bit. It's even better when backed up by a Trap Dust Shoot to clear out any clean answers to the Sangan. We will see. Looks like Edison Smurf has... Okay, so they are... I spoke too soon. They are running Mind Control here, so Pulse Slim could have gotten a little bit of value maybe by setting the Sangan, running it into a Mindcon, but of course you don't know if your opponent has Knock or not. The 2 Dust Shoot targets are Spy or Tribe Infecting Virus. Depending on the hand... I mean, if you have a Knock or something, you probably just send back Tribe. Spy, otherwise, is a decent play because there isn't really much for this Tribe to do at the moment. Definitely does not compare favorably to the Sangan, so not super worried about that if you're Pulse Slim. The rest of the hand is pretty good, though. Raigeki Break, Torrential Tribute, Graceful Charity. But now Pulse Slim knows about the Mind Control, which means we've got some solid mind games coming in later, potentially, about, okay, are they setting something that plays into Mind Control or not? If you're Edison Smurf, you could make the call to just hold it to answer potential chaos and not even play into the mind games. But that's sort of the decisions you have to make now that mind control is a known quantity. Pulselim going to send back that Gravekeeper Spy. I think that's, I do not know what is in Pulselim's hand, but on average, Spy is probably the correct choice here. Because like I'm saying, Tribe does not really do much at the moment, especially with no discard outlets. Now Pulselim knows about potential Mindcon, potential Torrential Tribute, potential Raigeki Break. That will get shuffled back. Edison Smurf could just... You don't have any discard outlets in hand, but you could fire off a Graceful Charity here. Just to, like, remove some of the known cards in hand, potentially. But generally, when you're running these Chaos Turbo or other Chaos strategies, and you're running stuff like Night Assailants and Thunder Dragons and Sinister Serpent, generally it's correct, unless you need to find something right now, to wait until you have a good discard outlet for your Graceful Charity to get maximum value out of it. So, Edison Smurf here, holding it, trying to dig into something like that. Adding a back row could very well be that Raigeki Break. Could be, I think we knew about Torrential in hand as well. But Pulselim here, just going to start beating with the Sangan. 8-turn clock, really annoying for Edison Smurf to deal with. And, if at any point as a control player you can force the more aggro player to be on the back foot, you're pretty happy with that because, it's basically fast forwarding the game to a state where you are in the advantage, which is quite solid. So solid start here out of Pulselim, applying this pressure. Going to add another set monster to the board as well. Could be, we know Pulselim is rocking Gravekeeper Spy of their own. And now the mind games begin, right? Because then Smurf has to be like, okay, he knows I have Mindcon. Is he going to set something that plays, that loses to Mindcon? I don't know. I feel like you almost flip a coin in this scenario to see if it's something real or not. Edison Smurf just going to draw past, so not firing off that Mindcon. We'll see if they will live to regret it. Looks like Pulselim is not going to flip it face up, so potentially just a Sinister Serpent or something you don't really care about. Sangan will continue to beat in, though, so Pulselim continuing to make progress on Edison Smurf's life points. We're going to get Upstart Goblin here to draw a little bit further into the deck. Still continuing to pass, and Sangan is getting a ton of work done here. He's going to get in for 1,000 every turn until Edison Smurf puts something in the way, basically. You're already down to 5,000. Upstart again. It's a 5,000 life point difference already. Pulselim, thanks to the double Upstart, sitting at 10k. Surely you have something here. Draws into a Thunder Dragon, so finally has an outlet for this Graceful Charity. Basically sacrificing 3,000 life points for enough time to draw something good to use with their Graceful Charity. Could definitely potentially be worth it, though. 5,000 life points is still a solid amount. Chaos Control is not the most aggressive deck, so you can maybe sort of, like, stabilize at this point and start turning things around. Firing off that Graceful Charity. No Solemn out of Pulselim, so Edison Smurf getting tons of new cards in hand. Just going to discard. Ooh, it looks like they drew a Gravekeeper Spy at some point, which was spun back by the Dust Chute. But discarding it here to get a Dark Engrave, most likely, to complement their Thunder Dragons Engrave, and now Chaos is live. And Chaos Sorcerer and BLS are two very clean ways to deal with Sangan without it getting its effect off. So Sangan Party, I think, is coming to an end here for Pulselim. We'll likely see a Chaos Monster hit the board here. Yeah, BLS comes down. Going to go ahead and banish the set monster, which was a Dekoichi. So interesting play here for Pulselim, choosing not to flip summon the Dekoichi last turn. I guess you know that the opponent is potentially setting Torrential Tribute here, so you might not want to trigger it. But you could have applied a little bit more pressure, and now it just got banished without ever being able to use its ability. And now it's not in the grave as a dark, which is a little bit unfortunate. And Edison Smurf smartly summoning their BLS in defense position, so Sangan can't crash, getting the Dark Engrave and getting the search off. So this BLS here doing a lot of work. Edison Smurf adding another threat to the board as well with a set monster. Magician of Faith super live here with that Graceful in the grave. So Edison Smurf finally has found an answer to Pulselim's early aggression in the form of the Sangan. But Pulselim has a full group of cards. We'll see if they have a way to break this first round of pressure here from Edison Smurf. Heavy Storm is a great card to just kind of clear out the back row and open the door for potential plays. That'll just get it by Solemn Judgment, though. Dropping Edison Smurf to 2,500. It would be really funny if Pulselim just ringed for game here. Um, Lots of damage thanks to the Sangan and the Solemn here. But Heavy will protect Edison Smurf's other two back row cards. Moment of Crossout will banish the set monster, which was another spy. So Pulse Slim, having two spies in hand is really not that valuable. So discarding one off the Graceful Charity to get a Dark Engrave and some BLS is pretty solid play. Second one will hit the banish zone though, and both players will banish the remainder of spies in their deck. Then we've got Creature Swap. Ooh, that is brutal. Oh, but with the yeah, okay. So the play here, right, is Creature Swap, swapping the Sangan for the BLS, which is really, really good for Pulse Slim if it resolves, because then BLS can attack over the Sangan, and Pulse Slim will actually get the trigger from it, if not even just attacking for lethal, right? Using the secondary effect to attack twice would be lethal over this attack position Sangan eventually. But Edison Smurf has a set Raigeki break, discarding that last remaining Thunder Dragon in hand to pop the Sangan, so that is a -1 overall because the creature swap should fizzle. So going minus to protect the BLS because Pulse Slim will get the search off here. Yeah, but being able to protect the BLS is quite strong because that is kind of the crown jewel of your position at the moment. Pulse Slim grabbing that Sinister Serpent off of the Sangan Search, and notably now is set up with Chaos in the grave thanks to the Raigeki break on the Sangan. Edison Smurf, the only other option would be Raigeki breaking your own BLS, which is a really feels bad moment. But it would have prevented the Sangan Search and prevented Chaos from being live, so it's actually not like the worst play I've ever seen. Not saying it's the right play, but it's at least potentially live. Pulse Slim, we've got Raigeki break, discard that Sinister we just grabbed off of Sangan to clear out the back row. Oh, we're going to clear out just the BLS. Totally fine. No Snatch Steal or anything crazy to do with it, just good old-fashioned Raigeki break. Popping that BLS. And Pulse Slim, yeah, still their normal summon for turn, so we're just going to set a monster, set a back row pass. And things are looking pretty even here at this point. If anything, I think Edison Smurf is even... Well, so Pulse Slim will be able to recur the Sinister, so yeah. Pretty even in terms of card advantage here so far from both players. But Edison Smurf is all the way down to 2,500 life points, whereas Pulse Slim is chilling at a cool 10k. As the control deck as well. The longer this game goes, the more Pulse Slim is favored, so... Looking pretty good for Pulse Slim. Not super far ahead at the moment, but things are trending in the right direction. Edison Smurf, though, still not out of it just yet. Has the set monster to deal with. Has a Nobleman of Crossout coming through, though. So has that Minecon in hand as well. That Pulse Slim has not seen yet. Banishing a Magician of Faith. So really risky play. Setting the Magician of Faith into known Minecon when your opponent has Graceful Charity. The balls on this man. Wow. But the knock is just going to come through. Both players will get all their faiths banished. And no harm, no foul. And this Minecon is still sticking in hand here for Pulse Slim. Once again, for the second turn or second game in a row, Edison Smurf getting all of their faiths banished off of knock. Not ever getting the chance to really snag one and recur their Trinity pieces, which is a big kind of victory condition for these Chaos decks. So kind of a bummer if you're Edison Smurf. But at least you prevented Pulse Slim from doing something similar by resolving a faith here as well. I'm going to set a monster pass. Pulse Slim already used one knock, already used a creature swap, so might not have any interaction here. We know it's not Magician of Faith, though, so you're not super worried about it, potentially. You know it's not Faith, you know it's not Spy, so it's either Dekoichi or something you don't really care about. Pulse Slim can recur their Sinister Serpent here in standby phase. Plays into Trap Dust Shoot, but I don't think we've seen one all match from Edison Smurf, so probably not worth playing around. We're just going to go normal summon Breaker here. Okay, I like it. Getting a little bit aggressive. And we're just going to trigger Torrential Tribute, though. Wiping the board. Ooh, and Edison Smurf forced. Yeah, I mean, you would have gotten -2 or -1 anyway, thanks to the Breaker. Breaker's such a good card, especially this late into the game when there's a lot of other things that Edison Smurf has to worry about. And, if Edison Smurf, it looks bad trading your Torrential and your Tsukuyomi for Breaker, but if you didn't activate Torrential, the same thing would have happened regardless. And, you can see kind of the value of life points here, really, right? Because if Edison Smurf wasn't this low and potentially dead to like a BLS or something, they probably don't set Tsukuyomi there because it's not doing a lot as a set monster. It's really just to chump block essentially. So if they had a little bit more life, if that Sanden did not get to attack for 3 turns in a row and the Psalm didn't come through, Edison Smurf probably doesn't have to set the Tsukuyomi there and probably doesn't get minused off of this breaker. It could have just traded 1-for-1 with the Torrential and you're totally fine with that. So you can see kind of the value of life points isn't always obvious, but it does force players into sometimes making suboptimal plays that then convert to other advantages later on down the line, like we saw right here. Pulslim having used their normal zone for the turn to get a +1, totally fine with that. Slowly starting to pull away, and that early pressure, like I said, coming in clutch here to force Edison Smurf into these awkward moves to protect their life total. And now pulling away in terms of card advantage, and now you're really, really in for it if you're Edison Smurf, because your opponent is sitting on 10k life, is up 2 cards, and they're playing a control deck, and you're super deep into the game, and they have Chaos Live. And your hand is a known Minecon, and maybe something else, but we know at least of the Minecon. So you got to be really worried about a game shot here from Pulslim at any moment. Edison Smurf, though, just going to set a back row pass. Honestly, probably the Minecon, if I had to guess. Edison Smurf, or Pulslim, going to go ahead. Main phase 1 normal summon Sinister Serpent, just to get a little bit of action going. I guess we do know about double Thunder Dragon in hand from Pulslim. Could have been cute and set the Serpent, but I guess wanting to get a little bit of damage in here. This now makes your opponent die to a single Chaos Sorcerer swing, which is pretty neat, because, you know your opponent has Minecon, so you kind of need to just hit for game with your Chaos Monster before you pass turn and they answer with the Mind Control. So getting Edison Smurf down into lethal to any Chaos Monster range is pretty relevant. And Sinister is really, jack of all trades card in the format. Sometimes just beating for 300 damage is relevant, and that's what we're going to see here. It's going to pass there with that Serpent, continuing to bear down upon Edison Smurf menacingly. It's a clock in itself, too, especially this late into the game. And Edison Smurf, going to add another back row, and then activate Jar of Greed, so setting the back row first to play around Trap Dust Shoot, which this set from Pulslim definitely could be, especially considering they discarded Dust Shoot a while ago. So you're more likely to make that play if you already have multiple Dust Shoots, of course. But yeah, drawing up to 3 cards in hand. Set 1 again to continue to play around Dust Shoot. Pass. Pulslim can continue to hit in with this 300 a turn if they so choose. We're going to go Tribute Summon for Thunder Dragon, so getting a little bit of a threat upgrade here with the free Tribute Summon for the 1600 attack vanilla. Gonna get in for 1600. Drop Edison Smurf all the way down to 600. Things are not looking good for our Chaos Turbo player here in this matchup. Pulslim able to pass the turn with lethal on board. And final stand here for Edison Smurf. It would suck if this Minecon just rots in hand all game, just never getting a chance to use it. When they could have used it on a Magician of Faith. But that's once again, that's kind of the Minecon, or that's kind of the mind games that come with mind control. Right. Seems like Edison Smurf might have just told themselves, okay, I'm going to hold it forever and use it to answer a Chaos Monster. And Pulslim potentially reading that, setting actual real cards into the mind control, assuming Edison Smurf's not going to do it. And as a result, this mind control has just never been able to get used. Tribe Infecting Virus is going to come down here for Edison Smurf, though, which is not too bad. It is an out to the Thunder Dragon. Going to use Prio, discard that mind control. Yeah, so getting held all game ever since like turn 2, and finally just getting pitched to a Tribe Infecting Virus effect to clear out a Thunder Dragon. So not terrible. Ooh, but that does play into Torrential Tribute to clear out the board, and that's just a straight 2-for-2 trade. And if you're Pulslim, I think you're totally fine with that, especially as you're going to be the one recurring Sinister Serpent. With your opponent has 600 life points. Edison Smurf could have played around this by not using Prio and forcing Pulslim to Torrential Tribute or, miss the window, and they could have potentially saved their mind control. But going for the Prio instead, playing around potential, like, I guess, like, Ring, maybe, around another Raigeki break, perhaps. Um, maybe Book of Moon, although we haven't seen that out of Pulse Slim. But yeah, unfortunately, not getting any sort of value here. Just going to be a straight 2-for-2 trade. Thanks to Edison Smurf utilizing their priority after the Summon of Tribe. Board will get wiped. Edison Smurf sets another back row here. They are dead to almost any monster in the deck. Serpent will kill in 2 turns, which is funny. Ooh, Graceful Charity out of Pulse Slim here. Edison Smurf, do you have Solemn for it? No, we're just gonna concede. Yeah, saying, okay, that I've had enough. We'll see what's in both players' hands just for funsies. Yeah, so Pulse Slim definitely would have been able to close out the game from there. Yeah, you're not going to Solemn that and lose to Sinister Serpent when your other 2 cards are dead. So, seeing the writing on the wall and conceding there here in Game 3. And that is 2-1. Pulse Slim on Chaos Control takes it down over Edison Smurf. Game 2, that Edison Smurf won. They did a really good job of showing the beatdown aggro potential of Chaos Turbo, which is what it needs to do in this matchup to win games. You just need to kind of go pedal to the metal. Not dumbly, but definitely playing around stuff like Torrential Mirror Force quite well and continuing to apply pressure in wave after wave. Whereas games 1 and 3 were kind of typical Chaos Control stuff, Pulse Slim was effectively able to absorb the pressure from Edison Smurf, eventually stabilize. Here in Game 3, the All-Star was definitely that Sangan, applying tons of pressure from the outset from Pulse Slim, forcing Edison Smurf to make some suboptimal plays once they were down at low life points so that they wouldn't just lose the game. And then when you're down life and card and board advantage late game against a control deck, the writing's on the wall here, and Edison Smurf just concedes before the game shot comes in, but, definitely knew it was coming. So, pretty cool match there. Classic matchup here in GOAT format. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments. I will see you all next time.